Built by the science guy.
Bill.
Built by the science guy.
Science rules!
Built by the science guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill.
Built by the science guy.
Bill.
Built by the science guy.
As you get further away from the poles, the number of months that snow falls decreases. Snow gradually builds up if the temperature remains below 0 Celsius. In the spring, if the temperature rises above 0 Celsius, the snow evaporates.
Year after year, snow that does not melt in the spring gradually gathers. The old snow underneath the top layers of snow is pressed down by the layer at the top layer of snow.
The lowest layer of the atmosphere progressively turns into ice as a result of pressure. Glaciers, ice caps, and polar ice sheets are formed as ice builds over time. Glaciers, ice caps, and polar sheets are all sensitive climate indicators. The ice in glaciers build up when the environment is frigid for centuries, as it is during an ice age. During summer, less ice melts. The amount of land covered with ice grows.
The ice cover begins to lessen if there's less precipitation than typical for several years, or if more ice melts than usual.
They believe the melting ice is a clue that the Earth's temperature is progressively rising. The term global warming refers to the trend of rising global average temperatures. Warm air rises above the water surface as the temperature of the Atlantic Ocean rises. During the summer months, the speed of the current winds near the equator decreases.
Storms form. They may either stay put or move slowly, enabling more moist air from the ocean to be sucked in. Storms become hurricanes as a result of the added warm air.
The equator is an imaginary line traced around the world that is equally distant from both poles and divides the planet into northern and southern hemispheres. When the ocean receives more energy from the sun, the temperature of the water rises. The density of warm water is lower than that of cool water. As the temperature of the ocean rises, the warm water takes up more space, causing the sea levels to increase.
Warmer ocean water causes the air above it to warm as well. Warm air flows throughout the world, warming polar regions and hastening polar ice loss. Global warming is evident by rising sea levels. Global warming has the opposite effect on water levels in the Great Lakes, according to climate scientists.
Global warming is dropping the water levels in the Great Lakes rather than raising them as it's doing in the oceans. This is partly due to the fact that warmer water evaporates more quickly than cooler water. Water from Great Lakes is now evaporating faster than it is being supplied by precipitation. The volume of water exiting the system outnumbers the volume of water entering it.
Sea level rise is the melting of ice sheets and glaciers, as well as water thermal expansions, a climate change process in which ocean water volume increases.
Glaciers and ice caps melt as a result of global warming, which also warms ocean and air currents. Water bodies such as the Great Lakes do not lose as much of their stored summer thermal energy as they would if the air was cooler. The lakes remain warmer, which helps to keep the surrounding areas warm.
In Canada, we are witnessing a shift in weather pattern, with milder winters and hotter summers, implying that the climate is getting warmer.
Global warming isn't real and it's still cold, has been talked about a lot, but it's proven to be a myth.
The average surface temperature of the Earth is rising as a result of global warming. Heat waves and droughts are becoming more common, and our natural climate systems are changing as a result. Extreme weather events are becoming more common and severe as a result of these changes. Hurricanes and storms, for example, are becoming more violent, moving slower, and taking longer to pass. Another statement that has been talked about for a while is animals and plants will adapt to climate change. This statement isn't a myth. However, to be clear, certain plants and animals will adapt while others will not.
Plants, animals, and birds facing climate change have to often survival, move, or adapt to the new environment. There are as clean energy, is obtained from natural sources or processes that are reused on a regular basis. Sunlight and wind, for example, continue to shine and blow despite the fact that their availability is dependent on time and weather.
For this experiment, first you're going to have to get yourself a lighter, some balloons, this wooden thing if you don't have one of those long lighters, and some water. Now, you're going to blow up a balloon, not too big, not too small, just about this size. As you can see, the balloon exploded because the air has very limited heat capacity because it didn't absorb any heat at all, and the balloon exploded. The reason for this is because since the air within the balloon couldn't absorb the heat quickly enough, all of the heat was directed towards melting the rubber. See what happens. Okay, as you can see, the balloon did not pop. Now, seeing as is what is happening, the balloon did not explode, and as a matter of fact, it's absorbing a good amount of the heat. It turns out that water can absorb so much heat that it transfers the heat away from the balloon's skin before the rubber melts, preventing the balloon from exploding or popping.
What are your thoughts on people who say that climate change is a future problem to deal with?
It is no longer an acceptable excuse for failing to address climate change and shifting the problem of cost to our future generations. Last year, the world's top climate scientists warned that we only have 12 years to keep global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius and avoid climatic collapse. Climate change is already having a disastrous effect on global food supplies, as well as rising migration violence, disease, and global instability. And this will only become worse if we don't act immediately. The greatest environmental concern of our time is man-made climate change. It threatens the survival of the planet of which we rely on, and we are the last generation capable of intervening.
There is also a myth about renewable energy being just a money-making scheme. What are your thoughts about it?
Renewable energy is usually thought to be expensive. However, that is simply not true. Solar power and onshore wind are the most cost-effective ways to generate electricity, meaning the energy they generate is less expensive than is produced by nuclear gas and fossil fuels. Renewable energy costs have dropped faster than anyone could have imagined. Despite this, the future government continues to support polluting fossil fuels.
You know, I've always liked this kindness of yours. You're exaggerating. I've always had something to tell you. I've actually always liked you. Your fair and clear skin always stood out to me. How did you get it so nice and clear?
I'm sorry. I can't accept the feelings from you. Your skin always stood out to me too, but in a bad way.
How do I make myself more likable to you? Just what product do you use to make your skin this soft?
Well, now that you ask, I use cream that especially protects the skin against the effects of UV light and makes your skin softer. It takes care of dead skin and repels the disadvantages of UV lights.
I'll use this cream every day until you approve of me. Sweet.
UV rays make up a small percentage of the sun's rays, but they are most common because of skin's damage. UV light damages DNA and skin cells and speeds up the aging process by causing fine lines, deep wrinkles, and dark spots. UV lights usually become harmful after 5 to 10 minutes of exposure. This product only costs $13.99 too.
Atmosphere do we create a future in which both people and nature can thrive? This is the biggest question of our times. In the next few decades, we need to do something unprecedented, achieve a sustainable existence on Earth. But how do we do it?
And that is how we warm the world.
Renewable. I think I stumbled. This would create higher revenue.
Me also.
No, I don't.
All the stuff is water.
Okay.
Can you keep them away? I don't feel okay.
This product only costs $10.99.
Okay.
Water from Great Lakes
All
is
right.
now. I'll add music. Water from Great Lakes is now. Is that all?
Yeah. First degree murder.
The ice cover begins to lessen. If there's less
Ooh, hands.
Oh!
Third one. Wait, so I can do the third one. That the Earth's temperature is progressively rising. The term global warming refers to the trend of rising global average temperatures. Okay, tell me when you start.
Good.
Okay. Again.
What's the last one? That's the third one. Or move slowly, enabling more moist air from the ocean. The Earth rising. Is that good?
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Bruno, hold on. Okay.
Oh, it's light, you stupid.
Next, you're gonna
Not
wanna
again.
Next, you're gonna wanna.
I'm not ready to start.
Maybe you should go in the-
I'm not.
I'm
I'm sorry I keep missing out.
It's okay.
There's a bug on you.
year after year, year after year, snow that does not. I don't like reading. I don't read ever. No, go away.
Did you start?
You'd be perfect.
The ice cover begins to lessen if there is a You read it. No?
Say with ice.
Say it really loud. too.
With ice. Well, now that you ask, I especially use it. Okay.
Rats are so needy.
Yes.